ourselves going. All right, hello everybody, welcome. You are here for 3 secrets to getting unstuck in your 2025 job search. My name is Albert. I'm the founder of Albert's List, and I will be your host today. We're an organization that helps you become the most indispensable professional you can possibly be with job search, AI, and side hustle skills, and webinars on a weekly basis so you can stay abreast of everything that's going on and everything meaningful that is interesting and useful for your career. We've got people here from wine country. This is wonderful. Grab a glass if you'd like. Yes, exactly. So, before we get started, I wanted to just say hello to everybody, and I wanted to get you in the mindset of a webinar like today. Unlike many of our webinars, I don't necessarily jump straight into the info here, but I want to get folks into the mood, right? And so the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that there are no distractions. Exit out of your social media apps, close the door to your room. If you're driving in traffic, of course, please pay attention to the road while attempting to also pay attention to what I'm saying. That way you get the most out of our time together. And when you do that, let me know so that we can all be here together and focused. So you may be wondering, did I stumble on the right webinar today? Um, you have many choices for many webinars on a weekly basis. It is a Monday night, it is a weeknight, a school night, if you will, and it is 5 p.m. or 2 p.m. out here if you're in Australia on a Tuesday afternoon, or 8 p.m. if you're on the East Coast, or beyond if you're in Europe and you're staying up late. And you're wondering, should I spend the next 45 minutes to an hour with this Asian guy who had a really, really great webinar title? And I promise you, I'm not here to waste your time or pull your leg. But I am going to say that you are here in the right place if you are looking, if you are struggling to find your next job, struggling in your career, not sure what to do this job market, or you're looking for a solution to your struggles. And as you know, this is a job market that is uniquely difficult. For those of us who are in the United States, we now know that there are more jobs or more unemployed individuals than there are jobs available. We just had a really, really terrible jobs report and it doesn't really look great going on from here. And so and then if that person is you and you would like to get out of that and you're trying to get unstuck, type yes. If that's not you, though, let us know what you are looking for anyway. I would love to know if there's something else that you came for tonight so that we can assist you in your job hunt so that you can be in a meaningful spot and that you can be helped in the right way. And so as we move forward, we're going to tell you about the 3 secrets that we here at Albert's List consider to be the secrets to getting hired. And if you're interested afterwards in how we got to these secrets and why these secrets matter to us, I also want to show you how you can get more. And I'm going to have you stay with me till the end, I hope, because you're going to want to see what I have to share with you in terms of the opportunity that we have coming up this fall. But before we get there, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about me. My name's Albert. I am the founder of Albert's List. I am a product marketer, and some call me the jobs whisperer. And when I am not marketing tech solutions and drinking wine out here on the Central Coast, and also helping people with their job hunting, I am collecting vintage paper and I'm on my Peloton bike. I've run Albert's List since March 5th of 2013. And it's become a really, really great journey of mine as I run this platform because it is always a benefit, it is always a privilege to help job seekers as they go through what they go through because it is a really, really tough market out there. Like you, I've also been through the Silicon Valley career grinder. And, I don't know if I need to explain what the Silicon Valley career grinder is, but it's basically layoff central in the layoff journey. I remember when I first graduated from college, it was 2010. We were at the tail end of that other terrible Great Recession. And I went to college and nobody taught me how to job search, right? If that's you, raise your hand or at least say yes. And it was not learning how to job search, much less manage a career. And the results obviously showed. I was fired from the first few jobs that I held out of school and wondered whether I could ever do better for myself. I was powerless, clueless, and feeling like I was losing at the game of life. It felt like others who had maybe majored in something better or had those connections, had the cheat code or some special ability that I lacked. Does anybody else feel that way too? I mean, it feels like everybody else in Silicon Valley seems to make it except us sometimes. I also happened to work in a career that was completely different from my family. So, if you know my family, which I don't know that many of you do, I come from a family of software engineers. My mother spent 3 decades at IBM. My dad was a software engineering contractor for many years, and my sister is currently a Googler and has also and basically started her career at Apple working on the iPad mini and also and I think also iPhone cases. So, but I mean, she also went to MIT, so what am I kidding? I loved, on the other hand, doing social media, marketing, connecting people. And so, it was interesting because I was like, did I go into the wrong thing? I was definitely questioning my value. And as the bills piled up, it really just got me to thinking, like, how the heck does a job search even work? Do I need some sort of secret? Do I need some sort of thing, some sort of killer instinct to make this all work? And it's interesting because I think a lot of folks who are in Silicon Valley get to this way because we are in a region, and I mean, even if you're not in the Bay Area, I saw folks who are from Toronto here, people who are in Virginia, New York, Australia. There are elite universities everywhere in tech regions where it doesn't necessarily have to be you versus Stanford graduates or Berkeley graduates, but it could also be University of Toronto graduates, or it could be University of Virginia or Virginia Tech graduates. And right, these are people who, when you meet them, they all seem to have this different mindset and sense of ways about themselves that make you wonder, wow, the jobs just they can go pick them up off trees, and what can I do? I gotta go beg. But along the way, I was able to find myself unstuck from this journey because I found my way to founding Albert's List, where I was able to actually learn how to job search along the way. I got out of contract and layoff hell and ended up working at a few couple of great companies along the way. And because I was also moving down to Southern California at the time, I found myself coming back up to the Bay Area anyway to give talks. And that meant that there were a lot of long drives up the California coast that got me to thinking. And yeah, most of you are probably like, oh, he's probably looking at the beautiful views. But I'm a weird person when you get to know me. I'm funny and weird at the same time. And I was thinking, how is it that some people are able to land jobs easily and other people are not able to land jobs easily? And I keep seeing them at my webinars again. And what are the skills that they need to get there? And so along the way, I founded Albert's List here in 2013. This photo that you see of us here in the background is at our 50,000 member party last October. Um, and so we found ourselves in the business then of learning job search skills, and we've since expanded to AI and side hustle skills along the way. And each of these, we believe, play a crucial part to your career because we live in a really expensive economy. We live in a really expensive time. And we live in a time where tech companies, as we have seen, thank you. We live in a time uh, where companies see us increasingly as numbers, and they don't see us as the people that they hired us to be. Right? I'm lucky I currently work at a company that doesn't act like that. But for a lot of us, it's this journey of resilience every single day and week. And so that's why I founded Albert's List in these three areas, because you're going to need job search skills if you want a job. You're going to need AI skills if you're going to keep up. And you're going to need side hustle skills so that when somebody does lay you off, you can go ahead and transition your way into something that is still going to pay you so that you can at least get yourself groceries at the end of the week. And so we've built this community of 50,000 now, and we have a lot of really great people, as you see in this webinar chat today. And so if that describes you, um, actually, that does describe you because you're all part of the Albert's List community just by being in this chat. And so if you haven't had a chance to network with other people, share your LinkedIn profile, state where you're calling in from so maybe you can get coffee with someone from this community, please let me know. And if one of you does, I'd be happy to pay for coffee because I'm all about that connection. And I believe that that connection is so important. And so over time, we've grown to a community of now 50,500 to about 700 folks. There are 50,000 of you who participate in our Facebook group, in our email list, and in these webinars every single day. And we have individuals who hail from all around the world across numerous industries, including software engineering, project management, marketing, data science, administrative assistants, and more. And we all hail from very interesting companies too. These are some of the folks who are in the Alberts List network. If you were to ever post into our group, you could probably find somebody who works at one of these companies at any given moment in any given role, whether it's recruiting, marketing, engineering, software engineering, data science, and so much more. And it goes to say too, right? Because for those of us who have always looked into these companies as companies that we can't necessarily access, it really changes the game because it democratizes how we view employment. And so, are any of these companies that you want to work at? If they are, type yes or type your dream company that you want to work for in the chat. I'd love to see it. In the meantime, though, I want to talk about this current job market. It's a rough one, as we mentioned at the very top of this webinar, right? You're here today because you want it to help. You want me to help you find you a way to get a job in this ridiculous economy. Unemployment is still 4.2%, but it feels like it could be 42% if you look out at the world these days. And if you think about how this employment situation looks, the worse it gets, the more isolating, the more demoralizing and draining it seems like it really feels, right? And if you have a little bit of money put aside because you've been laid off recently, you should be okay. You just need the right strategy, system, and tactics for your next job. But if you don't have that, then you might be feeling fear and uncertainty about the future. And if you're that person, you're not alone. I think there's a lot of individuals who feel like that today in this chat, in this webinar, including myself at some points. And I want to let you know that navigating a job search is tough. On one hand, there's hearing that your friends are going out on the weekend because they have the money. There's the roller coaster of the daily economic news, tariffs, the stock market, companies laying off, AI, young grads on being unable to get a job and so forth. And then there's the job search itself, where there's some employers who are make you go through 15 interview processes and they make you do homework and they make you talk to everybody and the janitor, and then they ghost you. And, tell me if that's ever happened to you, right? Because it's happened to me and it completely and absolutely sucks. And the truth is that we all want a regular paycheck, right? Money coming in regularly. What we need is that job. And we're here to hopefully help you get it. But along the way of getting you to that job, something that you're doing is not working. And when we talk about this in the Alberts List world, it's really interesting how it all works together. It could be your resume, it could be your skills, it could be your network, it could be your attitude or mindset, it could be your vision. It could also be a little bit of everything because unfortunately, in a market where there are more unemployed people than openings available, you have to be incredibly precise and you have to be very, very good at positioning yourself and interviewing and talking. Job searches, in short, are very involved and they require a lot of attention to detail and precision. They also require a lot of time investment, which is why you're here today. And you have to start these things weeks and months before something actually happens to bear fruit. One of the things that I hear from a lot of people in my world is that you have to network before you need what that network brings you. And so for you, that's everything from networking now, if you have a job and you're in this chat, to building those AI skills and subscribing to ChatGPT, because someday you may need that a lot more than you think. And I get it, right? Like one of the things along the way is that we fear that we're not going to be able to provide for our family, even if you only have yourself to take care of yourself at that moment. We unfortunately live, where a lot of people are one paycheck away from losing everything. And so the job search solution is about taking action and the right action so you can position yourself as the best fit for that job. And part of that job solution is having a system to get there, whether it's accountability, support for your journey, picking up the right skills. It is really important to keep your attitude positive, your job search actions consistent, and to use all the resources available to succeed. And so among these things is not to isolate. If this is your first Albert's List webinar today, I want to welcome you to the proceedings. We've been partying it up like this since 2020, since the pandemic began. And we do these webinars nearly every single week, with the exception of probably July 4th and the week between Christmas and New Year's. And so we show up every single week and we do a little bit of everything. And the good news about being on these webinars is that it keeps you from being isolated. Because even as much as your job search may be where it is, you could be one resume change, one great connection, one mindset shift, one shifted tactic or philosophical change away from your next job or your next career move. And so one of the things you must avoid is isolation, right? Isolation, from what we learned during the pandemic, can be extremely deadly. So staying connected, staying with community is critically important. And I'm going to show you a little bit about how to do that later. And so Albert's List is not just a community, but not just for your next job. It's also for connections and a sense of belonging. And so I see a lot of you sharing your LinkedIn profiles. There are 93 of you here in the room today. So I want you all to share your LinkedIns if you can and really get connected. Um, and if somebody, you can all say that you know me personally because and if that helps drive the connection points, then even better. In addition to not staying isolated, networking is also really powerful. Being able to use your existing relationships and warm connections to meet other people is really great. Going to your networking events that are within your industry and staying focused is also really powerful as well. And being in the Albert's List community means that you are among new and warm connections because all of you know me in some way or form or fashion. And so I can see a lot of you sharing your LinkedIn. I can see all of you talking in the webinar chat. It's really, really exciting. We also talk a little bit about standing out in a crowded market, right? So you need to stand out in this market today. There's more job seekers than there are available jobs. And so you need to showcase not just what it is that you're capable of doing, but what special sauce you bring that a company needs especially that'll help you stand out. So succeeding at the basic nuts and bolts is essential. Yet with all that, you're all only one moment from change. We might have a recruiter in here tonight. You might have somebody here who has a connection to your dream company. You might have somebody here who has a connection to an opportunity that you haven't met yet. And that's one of the most exciting parts of a job search is that you could literally be one moment from change. And you need to prepare yourself for when that happens. And so with that, I want to jump into the 3 secrets to getting unstuck in your job search. The first secret I want to talk about today is what we like to call here as the Magnificent Seven. How many of you have walked out of your last employer after a firing or layoff just completely beside yourself? You're depressed, you might be crying, you're questioning your value, the world is falling apart. Type me in the chat if that's ever happened to you. I see a lot of you typing me, and unfortunately, that's kind of the way that most people experience job loss. But you know what? You're different because you're hanging out with me today. You feel, and the reason why you feel like that before you met me is because you feel like you've been hurt. And even though you're told not to take things personally, you take them personally because you're thrown a curveball and you don't know what to do next because a job search is so many things at once. It feels like somebody's waged revenge against us and we just seriously don't know what to do next. So to us, the blow can be softened if you know all the things that need to happen, though that you can get back on your feet faster. I call these the Magnificent Seven. And the Magnificent Seven is this, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this into the chat. But it basically comes down to this. You being able to know that you need to update your resume, update your LinkedIn, identify the jobs you want to apply for, reaching out to your warm network. And look, I'm part of your warm network now. There are people who message me every time they get laid off to tell me they got laid off, and I am there for them. Or at least I try to be there for them because it is important because I felt that feeling so many times. So if you got to message me on LinkedIn, do it. Posting an introduction to Albert's List, restarting subscriptions to services like LinkedIn Premium, and identifying networking events almost immediately to attend in the next few weeks. Yes, you may be mad, you may be frustrated, you may be mourning, but the thing that gets you over that situation is massive action. That's why people are in the gym the day after they break up with someone, or that's why people go and travel after they get laid off, because they want to feel like they're doing something and they want to feel like they are going somewhere. And what we do is we outline this specific approach to what you want to do next is a hiring hierarchy. This is the hiring hierarchy here, and what it is, it's a framework that we use to emphasize what companies are looking for and the skills you need to be a completely masterful professional. If you start at the foundation at the bottom, which are all the soft skills that you need to succeed in today's job market. Attitude is so important, we included it twice. But you need a level of self-awareness, you need to have the ability to hustle, you need the good hunger, and you need the commitment, right? There's no waking up on Monday, applying for 5 jobs, and then taking a break until Wednesday. And as we move up the hiring hierarchy, we see other elements such as basic job search skills, strategies, and leadership. And what we look in this hiring hierarchy is that the first two rungs are the most important because they're going to get you most of the jobs in today's world. You don't necessarily need to have a strategic mindset. You don't necessarily need to have a vision for how you want that job to look for, much less leadership skills. But your personal branding, your interviewing, your skills, and your resume cover letter must be good. And if you have a little bit of the leadership capability and the ability to convince others and influence others, then even better, right? Because that way you will put yourself as a top candidate. And in the age of AI, where things like the basic skills can be taken over by a chat GPT or by a Claude, you want to be able to also lead and influence and have that vision to take a company to the next level. And so this is where I come to somebody who's been with us before. I want you to meet Cindy. Cindy is an Alberts List member who found herself isolated, like many of us, during her job search and was spinning her wheels. Like many of you, she spent a lot of time thinking about the job search rather than executing, and it cost her a lot of opportunities, including her dream job. And she was primarily concerned with perfecting the job search. And so, in this market, especially, taking a lot of time to perfect your job search, and if you're, a former member of Perfectionist Anonymous, feel free to raise your hand. Why is taking too much time in your job search bad? I'm going to have you all answer that in the webinar chat, or at least give me a few answers. Let me know why taking too much time in your job search is bad. Yeah, because things move too quickly, especially now. Burnout. Yep. Too much competition. Yep. Yep. If they leave things open-ended, that's good. Yeah, so after Cindy came to one of our boot camps, she understood the need to introduce speed to in her job search, from using her network to figuring out quickly what she needed to be successful. She was able to find a job within the weeks of completing a program, and she enjoyed the new process that she was able to adopt. Right? So that's an important part of the job search. You have to be quick. And one thing that I emphasize over anything else is quickness, because if you take a weekend to put together a resume or a whole entire week to respond to a recruiter, then it makes it tough. And yeah, visa for some of you who are saying that too. Um, you have a visa to fulfill, especially since you only have, I think, 60 days. Yes, I can put the blue triangle back up for a moment. Um, this is the hiring hierarchy. Feel free to take a screenshot. Nathan says, research has shown that the number one predictor of landing a new job is time spent applying. Taking time just makes the job of finding a job harder for yourself. Yeah, so that's true, right? So for a lot of us, I think during the last couple of years, we've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, I got laid off in September. I'm going to take 3 months with my family, and then I'm going to hit it back up again in January." On one hand, I respect that you need to probably take time for yourself. Getting laid off and going through the meat grinder of Silicon Valley is really a lot of strain. On the other hand, the job market is going to look significantly different in 3 months. AI will have advanced, companies will have laid off, budgets will have been filled, and by the time you hit the job market again in January, the hiring manager is going to ask you, what did you spend your last 3 months doing? And on one hand, you can say I spent time with my family and I was celebrating the holidays and I was dabbling in AI, and that'll be an okay answer for some. But another hiring manager is going to look at you and say, "Well, you spent 3 months doing that, and is your career a priority?" And while that's a pretty terrible answer, it is unfortunately in an employer's market an answer that you're going to get. And that's what I promise you too, is that I'm going to be real with all of you guys because it's a tough market out there and it's a competitive market out there. And many of you who join these webinars are wicked smart. So you have fantastic resumes, wonderful backgrounds, PhDs, master's degrees, and you're selling yourself short. And sometimes by taking 3.5 months off, you are absolutely selling yourself short. So the second secret to landing your next job is to define your destinations. And so the question I want to offer for everyone today is, have you ever wanted to learn a new skill? Have you ever wanted to get fit for a wedding or an important event? And for those who have six packs or flat abs and a nice flat tummy, you know that it takes dedication, time, and precision to get there. After you spent time in the gym and you see the results, you know, or whether you went into the classroom to go to school, you know you could see the results because you spent the time doing it. Job searching is also the same thing. We don't hear of it because we often apply for jobs in a tailor-made manner, interview like every conversation is new, or network like we're socializing for the very first time. But if you know what it is that you're looking for and you're not spraying and praying and are building the assets towards getting there, you know that if you know your destination, you know what exactly the assets that you need to build are, so you get to that end. And so this is bolstered by having a story that you want to tell about what it is that you want to do. It's like walking into a store. So if you walk into your local grocery store and you want and you don't know what it is that you want to buy, but you're looking for but you're look and you want to go look for it, and you walk up to a clerk and you say you want something but you don't know what it is, then the assistant can definitely not help you. However, if you know what you're looking for, then there's a clearer idea to get you to the cheese, the wine, the soda, or the roast chicken that you want. And while you may not know the middle steps along the way, working backwards is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And working backwards is exactly how we work with one of our with our boot campers as well. Juan is somebody who came to us a few years ago, and like many of us, he expressed a lack of strategy and direction. He knew what he wanted, but had many disparate tasks in the job search that didn't quite connect. So what we did was we held him accountable, we gave him a strategy, and we took a very human approach. In our boot camps, we have LinkedIn chats and office hour conversations to keep our attendees engaged, which help him execute upon his search. And he was able to land a job at Microsoft, working on the Microsoft Azure Marketplace team. So, how many of you today are not fully clear about your job search destination? Type me in the chat, by the way. Awesome. So, here's one thing that I want you to do today to help you find more clarity in your job search destination. I want you to take out a piece of paper, or I want you to open a notepad on your computer, and I want you to do the following. I want you to create a 1 through 10 list for all the jobs that you qualify for. These are all the jobs that you can do right now and go and take an interview for. For me, it's product marketing, content marketing, customer success, recruiting, a little bit of HR branding, and then working for myself. And as you write these down, I want you to notice how you feel about your situation, right? Because a lot of us can go through the job search thinking that we have tunnel vision and that we're looking at just one thing at a time and we're not sure what we're going to do next. But I assure you that this exercise, as I'm going through this slide, will help change the way you think about it. And if you have typed up at least 4 to 5 different roles that you can do, tell me how you feel as you've written that list down. Competent, great. Anyone else? Ambivalent, okay, interesting. Hopeful a bit, good. Accomplished, good. I'm looking for a particular word. Trusting the Oh, I like that. Trusting the universe. Capable, ready. Okay. So Shani, I think you and I are kind of on the same wavelength there. Surprised. Oh, I love that. Surprised. Great. Skilled. Um, the word that I want you all to feel as you do this exercise is abundant. And abundance is what creates motivation, which leads to efficiency because you have clarity. Instead of thinking that you need to apply for just quality assurance or just software engineering jobs, you now realize that you can apply for 4 or 5 or 6 different job titles. And in a job market where job titles are increasingly less and less because companies are taking jobs off the market, having this list is incredibly important for you because it at least brings you some clarity into what it is that you're capable of doing and gives you the opportunity to think big in terms of your job search. So if you walk away with anything today, I want you to walk away with an abundant mindset and a list of roles that you can do. All right. The third secret that we have today is all about connecting past, present, and future. And so this is all about job interviewing. And the unfortunate case is that what I've discovered in doing over 135 mock interviews on Albert's List is that most people are not good at job interviewing because they are there for themselves in hopes that somebody might not notice. And I understand it, right? Like we all have a very, very deep passion of staying alive, paying our rent, and being able to eat. Unfortunately, companies don't see it that way. And in reality, companies are holding interviews because they are hoping that your past success is an indication of what will happen in the future. And even though your stockbroker will never promise you this and cannot promise you this, your employer is banking on the possibility. And so, how do you go into an interview and kill that interview? You do it by connecting past, present, and future and understanding the questions that you'll be asked from the job description as it aligns to your resume and their needs. And the secret along the lines is simple. You upload your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and your chat description and a job description to ChatGPT. Then you ask it to act as a career consultant and give you a four-column table. One is focused on anticipated questions, one is on the category of questions, which is star, hypothetical, fact-based, and skill-based. And another one is stories that you can draw from your resume and an answer that you can practice. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this prompt into the chat here so that you can see it and use it into ChatGPT yourself. And we use a lot of AI in this bootcamp as well as a complementary way to help you understand why job search skills are so important. And so with this prompt, you can connect past and present in mere seconds, and all you have to do is practice. So if you're looking at these secrets and you're ready to stand out in your job search, I want you to type "let's go" in the chat because we've got some pretty cool things for you coming up. Awesome. 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. Great. So we ought to do one more thing around understanding our past, present, and future. And I want you to meet Nikki, who has attended 2 of our 6-week job search boot camps. She's a project management professional who needed to find a way to connect her job search stories. And we taught her how the first time around through some really, really key and pinpoint interviewing skills. And what she was able to do was land 3 six-figure offers. And when she was unfortunately laid off, like many of us, she then returned to do another boot camp and continued to gain insights into how to do her job search, this time by learning how she could incorporate AI into her strategy. She continues to leverage our community, which is made available to her after the completion of the program, and build her job search. So this is what's available to you when you join Albert's List on the more premium side, and we're going to talk about that a little bit here. And what we used to have was an 8-week course. And we realized that along the way, it was really great to see people for 8 weeks, but we wanted to really make that system hit home. Job hunting, as we know, was more difficult than ever. And as an organization that has worked in the job search space for a while, we've spent a lot of time thinking about how to improve it. And so, because we know that speed is important and we want to really honor that speed, we want to make it so that you can get back out there to interview, get offers, get jobs, and then move on with your lives, whether it's raising your family, traveling the world, saving for that big purchase, or going back to school. And so what we did was we are introducing the Fall 2025 Job Search Bootcamp 6 weeks to Success. Instead of 8, we made it 6. And what we do throughout these 6 weeks is what we've seen to be incredibly powerful. And what we're going to do over these next few slides is we're going to tell you what we're going to teach you in this bootcamp. If you're excited to see what we have to teach you, type yes in the chat so that I know you're all here with me. And I promise you that while this is promotional, I want to also keep it as valuable as I possibly can because I want this to be a good fit for you. Okay? All right. I'm glad that so many of you are saying yes because I want to know that I'm saying something that's resonating with you. And if that's also something that resonates with you, say yes to. Okay. Great. So here's how our bootcamp works. So week 1 is all about the hiring process. The hiring process, as we mentioned, has changed along the way. Unfortunately, you cannot walk into your local business park in whatever town or city you live in and hand off your resume. What you have to do instead is everything from an online digital footprint to using communities to really being a hustler when you're on LinkedIn. And by hustler, I meant like messaging people and getting in touch with the people and doing a really great job of networking. In addition, we talk about riches and the niches, and we talk about expecting the unexpected, and also going into places that you never thought you would, such as maybe if you're a STEM person that you can consider substitute teaching and so forth. The instructor for this first week is me. I'm obviously the founder of Albert's List. A private consult is $300, but oftentimes What you're going to see with this entire value of this course is that everything is rolled in and it's significantly lower priced. Then we move into week two. In week two, we're going to talk about resumes and cover letters because resumes and cover letters are unfortunately still needed in today's job market. We're going to focus on telling a story that speaks to your strengths, create a cover letter that highlights you, and gets you out of your own way so you can showcase what makes you amazing and your special sauce. Yeah, so we do talk about cover letters because cover letters are still necessary in specific instances and cases, right? And so we want you to learn how to control the narrative, tell them why you're the best candidate, and and really do so without having them pulling it out of you. And your instructor for this particular section of the course is Jonaid Iqbal. He's a LinkedIn resume and personal branding expert with 40,000 followers on LinkedIn. And he's a career coach for everyone from C-suite executives to high school kids, techies, and even clowns. So he's seen every single resume under the planet, and he's got a template for every single one of those resumes too. Week three, we're going to talk about LinkedIn and networking. And we're going to focus on writing messages that work, teaching you how to network in circles of influence, and meet the people who want to meet you and do it effectively because so they can read the messages that you have to say to them. And your instructor for this one is Elisa. She's a LinkedIn networking and sales expert. She works at the world's largest search engine in sales, so you know she's doing a really good job. And she connects hundreds of people weekly with career and job search posts that really help her build her brand, and she'll teach you the same secrets that she uses to help you build yours. Week four, we're going to talk about turbocharging your job search resources because not only do we want you to think about Albert's list, we want you to think about beyond. Most people have very basic job search strategies and don't become very resourceful. And so, what we want to do is we want to open your mind to learn about what's around you and what you can use and how to think about this current job market. And your instructor for this is Lucy Thompson. Lucy is here in the chat, I believe, still. And she's a talent acquisition consultant and career coach with stops at Betts Recruiting, LHH, Illumio, and Bill.com. She's got insights into the tech and job market, and she's a recruiter. And the reason why we bring her on is because we want you to have a direct connection to somebody who has that background. We don't just want to talk at you, we want to talk with you. Week five is where we're going to talk about insightful interviewing. We're going to teach you how to be the interviewee that your interviewer is looking for, to get the edge in a competitive market, build the story you want to share, and role play and avoid the mistakes that kill job offers. One of the things that I teach during this boot camp is that I want you to learn that every single one of you is a risk right now to the employers that want to hire you. And the whole point of doing an interview is figuring out how to reduce that risk and make them so excited and heads over heels for you that they're going to make you a job offer. And if you can figure out how to do that, you're home free, right? Who wouldn't want to do that? If you want to learn how to do that and reduce your risk and get employers excited about you, type me in the chat. And so your instructor for this particular week is Corey. Corey is a technical recruiter at the world's largest search engine, and he's a career coach and Albert's List principal mock interviewer who does a lot of our mock interviews for us, and he's done about 125 of these since the beginning of the pandemic. And so what we'll work on is live mock interviewing and actually focusing on all the interview topics that really hit home. Then in week six, we cut through the noise. We navigate your negotiation and teach you how you can be offered an extra $500 to $10,000, all while understanding the state of the business that you're interviewing at and work it to your advantage. We also help you create a vision and move just beyond being a worker and into somebody who can provide leadership. Your instructor here is Joe. Joe Cardillo is the founder of The Early Manager, a coach for executives and individual contributors. He's held managerial positions at hot startups and established corporations. And in addition to everything that we're going to be doing, we also give you the following. Our first free bonus is a weekly office hour sessions that run an hour or a little bit more to help you answer questions, run through scenarios, or just vent. And that is something that I personally run. So if you want one-on-one time with me and you want to pick my brain, that's going to be your hour for the next 7 to 8 weeks to do so. Your second free bonus is a mock interview with one of our instructors. And so this doesn't necessarily have to be a mock interview that is live on Albert's List, but it could be. Um, and it could also be something that, you do one-on-one with us. That way we can give you the skills and we can help you understand what it is that is going on in your job search. And all in all, the total value of what we're offering you today, if you added up all the slides that we gave you earlier, is about $3,800. Luckily, it doesn't necessarily have, and it's not that much. Well, luckily, it's not at that price. And when we look at job search, what we realize is that there are a lot of different programs out there. Some programs offer 10%, charge 10% of your first year's salary. So if you think about that, take 10% of the pay that you earned at your last job and think about whether you would want to pay that to a job search coach. If the answer is yes, then I'm hoping that we have a better offer for you. And even if the answer is no, we think we'll still blow your minds. We also know that local job search groups meet monthly, which slow down your momentum and don't necessarily give you the complementary services that you need while still giving you the network that can help you. And while we realized that along the way we could charge thousands, I also didn't start this program to maximize profit. I really hope that over the last 50 slides, you've realized that I've also started Albert's List because I want to help people like you. And Rashi, I will get to the schedule and the structure in a moment. I'm not going to even take a chunk of your salary. What I'm going to do is, while the boot camp normally costs $397, when you enroll tonight through the 15th at midnight, because we do have a repeat of this webinar next Monday, I'm going to give you last year's price of $297, which doesn't expire until midnight tomorrow, but midnight on September 15th. All right. And so with that in mind, I'm also limiting this to 30 participants because I want to give you the focus and I want to give you the mind in order to do it correctly. And so with that, I also want to throw in a guarantee. Yep, 297 US dollars, and I have the link here for you shortly. I want to give you the guarantee that I want you to complete the course, use the skills that we teach for you up to 12 months. And if you are unsatisfied, get in touch with me and I will give you your money back as long as you have shown me that you have done the work. And as a company, as an organization that holds something like 200 to 300 webinars a year, there are plenty of chances to help you practice and learn these skills in the right way. And so if you want to enroll, the QR code is there. I'm also going to drop this into the chat where the tickets are available as well so that you can learn more along the way. And basically what we do is we're going to start this program on September 22nd and it's going to run for 6 weeks. So September 22nd, 29th, October 6th, 13th, 20th, and the 27th. And we're going to actually throw a bonus weekend there on November 3rd because we love you so much. And that's in addition to the office hours and the one-on-one phone calls that you can get to have with me as well. And so with that, I want to offer you the opportunity to go ahead and enroll now, but I also want to give you the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. Our question slide is on the next slide here, but I'm going to keep the QR code up here so that if you have any questions about this program and about the job search, I am here to help you. And in addition to that, I also want to mention that if you are in a tough place right now, that if you need a payment plan or something of that sort, I am also here to make that available to you as well, because I want you to be able to attend these courses. So course timings, let's talk about that. It is going to be every week on September 22nd, 29th, and October 6th, all the way through the end of October at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I would say that in addition to that, we also host office hours, I believe at 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. The following Wednesday after as well, so you can join for that. Nathan asks, of roughly the 30 people who join your sessions, how long does it take on average for someone to land a position? So in our last boot camp, we had, I would say, 3 people land positions within 6 to 7 weeks of starting the course. There are some folks who are still interviewing and coming to the end of their interviews. Yeah, so it's every Monday, and I also extend office hours after the course ends all the way up to the following boot camp. So if you end up signing up for this, you will end up having office hours from roughly September the 24th all the way out to late January 2026. What happens if I decided yes, but enrollment is at capacity? I will make room for you. I will find a way to make room for you. Yes, I always want to make this an action of generosity, Rashi, because I know that people are struggling right now and they're looking for jobs. And Albert's List, we do make a little bit of money here and there, but this is the best program that we have, and I want to be able to give back. Uh, yes, so Becky, I think the next boot camp that I will do probably starts in February 2026. Uh, yeah, Elizabeth, reach out. Let's talk about it. Any other questions? I get the LinkedIn part, but what if I need privacy? Yeah, so if you want to join the boot camp but cannot join the LinkedIn, um, what we can do is we can work with you through email. I check my emails pretty ridiculously often, and if you have questions, I will do my best to answer them, and get you an answer as quickly as possible and loop you into the discussion. Um, You said you are repeating this webinar next Tuesday. So I'm repeating it next Monday. If I attend that webinar, is there a boot camp after that? That is correct. Yeah. So next Monday's webinar will cover the same exact topics, and you can come back and, we'll have the same exact conversation, and you're more than welcome to come back. And the boot camp starts right after that on September 22nd. So there is time for you to think about what it is that you want to do. What happens if you need to miss one of the sessions? How do you make it up? So if you miss a session, all sessions are recorded and available on YouTube for people who only have the link. You won't be able to make it up, but if you want to talk to us about what you learned in the recording and you have questions, we will be here to answer. Anybody else? Thank you, Ian. All right, cool. So the link to our webinar, our boot camp is here. Uh, if there's a refund after the first class. Are you saying that you are looking for a refund, or reach out to me and I can talk to you more about that, Angela? Alrighty. Okay, so we are heading up to the top of the hour here. We'll take any last minute questions. Awesome. Thank you, Dora. Good to see you. And thank you, Becky. Good to have you here as well. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, the link to sign up is up here in the chat section. And yes, you get a mock interview and you get a resume review. In fact, you get a resume template from Jonayad, and he will send that to you. Um, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for their time again today. We have many other webinars that are going on this week, as well as this boot camp starting September 22nd. If you have any questions, I'll be right here. We'll be uploading the recording of this to YouTube as well. And if you would like to follow up, please send me a message and we will see you all soon. Thanks so much and have a wonderful rest of your Monday.